Give everybody just a second to come on into the stream as we get green check marks across the board. Boom, 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 and away we go. Broncos country, what is going on? It's Wednesday night, which means it is time for MHI, a very special MHI. I am one half of MHI, Luke Patterson, and join with me today, a very special guest, right? The OG of MHH himself, Chad Jensen. How we doing, man? Thanks for subbing in for Thomas Hall tonight, Chad.
Dude, always a pleasure. I always jump at the chance to chop it up with you, bro. And it's kind of been, we were talking about it before we went live. We had some press availability today. That's good. We'll kind of go through it, but a relatively uneventful first practice day of the week. But we do have plenty to get to. So I'm stoked.
And hey, listen, it's an exciting time of the year. I don't know how we got to December so quick. If you would have told me that the Broncos would have started 1-2, and now they're sitting amid a 9-game winning streak, coming off of a thrilling overtime Sunday night football win against the Washington Commanders, heading into Raiders week, the Broncos have a chance to sweep the Vegas Raiders for a second time in 2 seasons, man. That's huge. We got to keep up with those Patriots. We're going to take you through the injury report. We're going to take you through some interesting comments from a Super Bowl winning head coach, and we're going to take you through all of Broncos country's news. But before we do, let's say what's up to some of the folks in the stream who are always coming in way before the show even kicks off. People can't wait to talk Broncos because, Chad, as you know, the Broncos are 10-2. Fighting for that top AFC spot. I know that you watched the New England Patriots and the Giants the other night. Patriots technically jumped up one on the Broncos. They're enjoying their bye week. How important is it to get that number 1 AFC slot?
Crucial. I mean, especially when you've laid the groundwork as they have, the Broncos. You know, they've fought the good fight, and that was part of what the conversation today was like, hey, we're stoked at where we're at. We put in a lot of hard work. The job's not done. And that's good. You want to hear that mindset from the team. You don't want anybody with 5 games left to go, Luke, resting on their laurels, so to speak. But like, hey, man, how long has it been since the Broncos had a first-round bye? You know, this new playoff layout didn't exist back in 2015, the last time the Broncos did have a bye. But it's been a decade, dude. It's been a decade. So I don't know. There are pros and cons, Luke, to the bye thing in the playoffs. Some people think it gives a team an advantage because of the obvious, right? They get to rest and heal up and all that stuff. But there's also that argument that you want to stay hot. You want to stay in the groove. You want to keep the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and be like the 97 Broncos, the first team that won a Super Bowl, and start in the wild card round and go. I don't know. Everybody's got a different opinion. I prefer the bye.
No, that's just it. Well, and momentum means everything to this team, this Broncos team, and they don't care how they get it done. I absolutely loved Sean Payton when he was getting a little testy. Sean loves to get testy at the podium, as you know, Chad. And I love you escape Washington with no escape. We won the game. We won the game. And Sean made that very clear. I absolutely love Club Dub. It was one of my favorite things when Sean said in his introductory press conference, he was bringing Club Dub to Denver. What is Club Dub? Club Dub is the speaker system that the Broncos have that Sean wants to play so loudly that the other team can hear them celebrating. That's been happening in road games. Let's hope it can happen in back-to-back road games with the Raiders this week. They got a smoke machine, Luke, now.
By the way, exactly, with the smoke machine, taking it that extra level, right?
I mean, the smoke machine in there, and then you've got, the Walton Penner ownership group welcoming each member of the Broncos and the coaching staff. This team is humming. I can't wait for the Raiders, who are in a tailspin. They're on a 6-game losing streak. I know they're sitting at 2-10. But this Broncos squad, I heard Zach talk about it the other night, saying he's going to send his cardiologist bills to the Denver Broncos to try to lower his blood pressure. Cardiac kids, comeback kings, whatever you want to call them. It sure would be nice if the Broncos could put the pedal to the metal against the Raiders in Las Vegas, just like our guy Papa Bear does every single day on every single show here at MHH. Good evening, Broncos country. That flag is planted firmly in the ground, 13-4. It's well within reach, Dave.
No doubt about it. Now, David's code, he might even, here's what's interesting. David once got a little justifiably upset because he had a prediction similar to this before the season started. And I don't even recall which podcast host, Luke, had offended him by scoffing at the notion that the Broncos were only going to lose, whatever, 3 or 4 games this season. But look at you now, Papa Bear. I mean, we're entering week 4, and you're looking like, Papadamus or Nostra Papa or whatever you want to call it. And his code here, though, 13-4, plus that's wild card, plus that's division, plus that's AFC title game, plus his world championship. So all the way for the Papa Bear.
I'm just now seeing the pluses and starting to put it together. That's why we got to get Chad on this show. Tom's not here to keep me in line. Luckily, Chad is. David, thank you for all the support. I hope you and yours had a very happy Thanksgiving. It's the holiday season now, and that's one of the funnest parts of the Broncos winning a 9-game win streak. Number 1 in the AFC West. You got to keep that AFC West title, Chad. 2 games ahead of the LA Chargers, who are not going away. And we've got back-to-back David on David crime here on MHI tonight. David Yonkin weighing in, an exclusive member of the MHH community, a very generous $4.99 over on YouTube, calling it 28-13 Broncos. And for those media outlets that blast the Broncos, well, keep hating while we keep winning. David's on to something, Chad. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen it over on social media. The national media doesn't like the Broncos winning games. They don't like the Broncos taking things down to the wire. There's excuses every week. I don't get the Bo Nix hate. I don't get the Broncos hate. I understand the Sean Payton hate, but talk to me a little bit from a national perspective. What are you seeing? You cover multiple landscapes, multiple professional sports. Why does everyone have it out for the Denver Broncos?
Well, I think a big part of it is, like a good friend of mine who covered Sean Payton for a long time when he was with the Cowboys. I should say a long time ago, for a few years when he was with the Cowboys, who knew him well and said, he's a great coach, but he's hard to love. And the media, that's a general perception. And we, even guys like us, we can see like he's a little bit of a rapscallion. He's a little bit harsh at times. He's very blunt. And then, of course, you have all the, Bounty Gate stuff from years back. The NFL at large roots, in my opinion, to see Sean Payton fall down. Being that as it may, you also have the age-old Broncos, kind of sleeping on the Broncos thing, not giving them enough respect unless they're just absolutely, 606 points, 2013 Broncos. Now we're on the cover of Sports Illustrated and everybody's bowing down. It takes that level of achievement to kind of get on the same playing field as if it were, the Chiefs nowadays, et cetera. But I also think, Luke, one thing, and I want your opinion on this. I think one of the reasons why, and I think it's actually a little bit fair. I'm not saying it's fully justified or that I agree with any of the hate or anything, but the complexion of how these games are shaken out and the fact that Bo Nix isn't just stepping on the field and lighting it up quarter through quarter, dominate, I think plays a part in it. And for example, you take a look at the game you referenced earlier, the Giants and the Patriots. From the second Drake May's cleats hit that grass, it was perfect pass here, explosive play, perfect pass here, touchdown. He was just like dominating throughout right when he stepped on. And I think the NFL, to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, is hoping and waiting for that kind of a Bo Nix and wondering how the heck the Broncos are 10-2 without Bo Nix playing like that through 4 quarters.
That's a good point. I think you're right. There's a void when the Baltimore Ravens aren't doing good, when the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't doing good, right? When these perennial teams that are usually in the postseason aren't there, we're left wondering who's going to carry the torch for this season. How does it relate to next season? I know folks are wondering if Chiefs Kingdom is shattering and falling apart. Anytime you got Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, I'd venture to say you've got a shot. So I'm not buying into that. I think some of it, too, has to deal with who Bo Nix is as a person. Bo doesn't want to give clickbait. Bo doesn't want to give tons of social media tweets out there. He kind of sticks in his lane and does his thing. You don't see Bo a lot out and about outside of his circle, if you will. And I think he's kind of cut from Sean Payton's cloth in that likeness. I heard Garrett Bowles in a recent interview talking about how much Sean Payton meant to him, how much Sean Payton has meant to his family. I think Sean Payton and Bo Nix both reveal a kind and considerate side that we don't see as fans, that we don't see in the media. Those guys, they see it in the locker room. It's one of the reasons why the Broncos are on a 9-game winning streak.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you just said. David Yonkin jumping in back-to-back saying, hey, look, I've been a fan since 83, and as long as I can remember, the media have hated the Broncos, but it's worse now with Sean as head coach. Yeah, I mean, you can see the bias manifest in a lot of different ways. I think we all, Luke, had that sinking feeling when we realized that Bill Belichick was going to go into the finalists for the Hall of Fame 2026, knowing that, look, you can't argue objectively. Look, our preference, sure, Mike Shanahan, right? But objectively in a football conversation, you're not putting, when they're head to head, Mike Shanahan in front of Bill Belichick. So we knew he wasn't going to surpass Bill Belichick. But even the Hall of Fame bias, which they've over time have begun to kind of incrementally correct, Luke, has been pretty obvious in terms of what David's talking about going back to 83. I mean, you had a guy in Randy Gradishar that literally waited almost half a century to get his rightful place in the Hall of Fame.
An absolute shame. And if it's anyone's fault, it's Thomas Hall's fault, because Tom, one, he's not here, and two, he's friends with some of the Pro Football Hall of Fame voters. So I'm always giving Tom hell. You can get at Tom at Thomas Hall NFL over on X. No, David, I'm with you, and I appreciate the fandom, man. Since '83, you've endured some long seasons, David. I know that you're enjoying this season, and it's not over yet. The Broncos have a whole nother month to go. Remember what? They haven't lost since September? Quick, going off the top of my head, I mean, it's absolutely crazy to see where this team has gone. You truly can't count them out at any point in the game. It sure would be nice, though, if we got through this Las Vegas Raiders game in and out. Max Crosby keeps me up at night. I worry about the guy. The Raiders, I think back, I hate to say it, Chad, but week 10, Thursday Night Football, left a horrible taste in everybody's mouth. So much so that people were calling for Thursday Night Football to go away. If you remember, it was a game where more penalties were scored overall between both teams than first downs, or sustained, I should say. So you got to earn a little bit more respect. Maybe you did that on Sunday Night Football. We can talk about referees all we want, officials calls, non-calls. The Broncos are finding ways to win games, and nobody is going to apologize for it. And listen, nobody's going to apologize for the Las Vegas Raiders either if they come in and compete against the Denver Broncos. I'm reading the headlines just like everybody else is. Pete Carroll, what's the status of his tenure in Las Vegas amid what? 10 games, that's in peril. Geno Smith taking shots at the fan base and everybody else. What's the long-term solution there? You can't count the Raiders out. They're still a dangerous opponent because they're a wounded animal. As pathetic as they may be, they're a wounded animal. They've got Max Crosby. Take care of your business, Denver.
And they showed you in that Thursday night game that, look, AFC West divisional games always have the possibility of being a little bit outlier, like nobody under the sun foresaw that being a 10-7 game, or that the Broncos were going to really look that bad throughout. It took, another kind of late game, pull it all together from the Broncos and Bo Nix to pull that out. And there's obviously, guys, listen, a lot more to get to tonight, including your comments and super chats. But first, listen up. Holidays, guys. We just had Thanksgiving. We're in December now officially. And it's here, and it's about also finding the perfect gift. But this time of year, not every deal is actually what it seems, because scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card, so you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. So stay one step ahead of the scams this season, gang, and keep your money secure with Cash App.
Boom, guys, that's right. Listen, for a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. That's for real. No promos. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, secure10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
All right. Booyah. Excellent stuff. Appreciate Cash App, of course. And we also appreciate guys like B-Rad, who we got to kick it with at the meet and greet this year. It was awesome to hang. Came away, if I recall right, with a brand spanking new MHH hat. But good to see one of our dear members and superstars. B-Rad says, Broncos have to dominate the Raiders this time, 31-14. Luke, I kind of have a feeling that all the blowback, again, like you said, you got to be cautious, wounded animal. I'm actually 100% with you on that. But I have this sneaking suspicion that the Broncos are looking to make up for a little bit of lost time and kind of get some of that egg off their face from Thursday night football. We'll see, but I'm picking up what B-Rad here is putting down.
No, I'm with it, man. And listen, you can read about our official predictions on Friday morning over at milehighhuddle.com. You can check out our roundtable picks. I'm not sure who's in the lead yet. I think we're all pretty even with the Broncos win streak. I think we are riding as the Broncos ride, but I'm with you, Brad. I think that the Broncos have a chance to get right in a few different areas, and one of them is going to be in the run game. And I preview it with my keys to victory that'll be coming out tomorrow on milehighhuddle.com. I don't want to spoil everything, but ironically, it was J.K. Dobbins who tore that Liz Frank ligament against the Las Vegas Raiders on Thursday Night Football about a month ago. Since then, RJ Harvey, well, he hasn't been the rusher that we want him to be as a rookie, but when you look at what this young man is doing, very, very impressive. 8 total touchdowns, 23 total first downs on 105 touches, 501 total yards. This guy's getting it done as a receiver. He's getting it done as a back, and he hasn't fumbled the football. This is a get-right game for the Broncos run game. You can read about it tomorrow at milehighhuddle.com.
Let's hope, because, man, that's the one missing ingredient. Like, I mean, I guess we should talk about it real quick. As Tony Dungy talked about on Sunday Night Football is kind of cool. And you've seen the memes and the story going around. But to quote him real quick, and then we'll get past it, he said that, quote, they're the best, the Broncos, they're the best in the AFC right now. Outstanding defense, and they're clutch on offense. The defense feels like all they have to do is keep it close, and Bo Nix will win it for us. They used to say that about Mahomes in Kansas City, close quote. And Luke, as fun as it is to hear a pundit within the national media, especially a bona fide guy that's got a ring and that's got a bust in Canton, it's great to hear all that, and we know it's true. However, the one fly in the ointment here to the Broncos' dreams coming true is that run game. They got to get that figured out. And I do have faith in RJ Harvey, and I do have faith in Sean Payton, although he oddly kind of keeps pointing to the blocking for whatever reason. But Camden, thank you for being patient, big dog. Appreciate you being just a dear member and a huge supporter of MHH. He says, what's up, Broncos country? I'm excited about the Elijah Moore pickup. Hopefully another weapon for Bo Nix. # Let's Go Broncos. Yeah, Luke, how are you feeling about the Broncos picking up the former, let's see, which team drafted him?
Was he with the Jets and then the Browns?
Yeah, second round pick out of Ole Miss by the Jets, signed to the practice squad yesterday.
Yeah, busy day for Ole Miss, right? Or busy week, I should say. Ole Miss in the headlines, Elijah Moore, a product of it, I suppose. What do I make of it? I'm confused, Camden. I don't know about this Elijah Moore thing. There's a lot of overreaction. We were talking about it before the show. Folks are wondering, does this mean there's an odd man out? Is one of the receivers in Sean Payton's doghouse? And I'm trying to go through and figure out who that might be. Troy Franklin? I don't think so. Pat Bryant? No. Cortland Sutton, he's catching anything you throw him these days. He's a touchdown machine. Who are we looking at that's in the doghouse? Maybe it's just you're trying to stack your team up a little bit. You're maybe one of these guys. The injury report looked pretty clean today with the wide receivers. I'm not sure what to make of it, Camden, but here is what is interesting. I just got done falling all over myself about Quadzilla RJ Harvey. It's pretty surprising when you realize that RJ Harvey has more receptions this season than Marvin Mims and Pat Bryant. It just shows a little inkling of what Sean Payton prefers to do. Remember, Sean loves to tell us sometimes the short passes can substitute for the run game. While that may be true in competitive style matchups and affairs on overtime, when you're getting ready to face a Las Vegas Raiders team that is deflated, I need Sean to run north and south. I don't know what this means for Elijah Moore. Stay healthy. Maybe we use him a little bit later towards the end of the season and you rest a big dog like Cortland Sutton.
Man, I just would rather see whatever way that Moore gets grafted into things, if it happens, Luke, I got to be honest, I would rather see those opportunities go to a Marvin Mims because, yeah, he missed a couple of games with that concussion, but in my opinion, whatever it is now, 12 actual games in, he's been woefully underutilized in the offense. Now, we obviously know huge impact guy in the return game, but especially in the punt return game, but I want to see him more in the offense. I don't want someone coming in who's got a similar skill set, the speed, all that. I mean, One thing about Moore, he did run a 4.35 at his pro day at Ole Miss. For what it's worth, he can burn, but we'll see how he fits in. Tucson Phil, he's fitting in right now like a boss, like he's right at home, because he is. Good to see you, big dog. Says, good evening. Well, Chad Luke, Deacon Scott. Scott's in the house. Maybe this game we get the running game going. Echoing my brother here, Luke, hashtag Buck MHH for life, Broncos for life. I want to see, Luke, just one game with RJ Harvey as RB1 where his yards per carry average is north of 3. So far has it been 2 games post JK? I think it's 2 games, but he's been in the 2.7 range. Not good enough.
No, not good enough. And I don't put it on RJ Harvey. I put more of it on Sean Payton. Sean Payton, the play caller, is his own worst enemy. And Phil, as Phil remembers, the Broncos had a top 10 offensive rushing attack for the first third of the season. And every week it seems like they've just been dropping down. Right now they're sitting around 16, 17, middle of the pack. That's not to say they can't get it back. But this is the get right game. It's against the Raiders. They're deflated, but they're going to want to get some action in. What better way to send Sean Payton home miserable than beating the Broncos? You cannot overlook the Raiders. At the same time, let's get in and let's get out. How do we do that? You run the ball. Let's limit momentum. Let's limit interceptions, fumbles. This guy doesn't fumble, right? Knock on some wood. RJ Harvey doesn't fumble. I know we've had a couple drops, but an impressive rookie campaign from this guy. I'm with you, Phil. We got to see it. Tyler Bidet, Jaleel McLaughlin, let's get a bell cow game from RJ Harvey, because I got to be honest, J.K. Dobbins, I miss the big fella. And while I can appreciate Sean teasing, well, maybe in the playoffs he'd come back and we'd work him in. I just don't see it. Here's a Bronco that could be returning in the near future. Haven't seen it on the injury report today, but seeing how it is December, Chad, maybe Ben Powers comes back in the next few weeks. Remember, it was against the Philadelphia Eagles when the Broncos stunned the world, began their win streak, and Ben Powers had to go out. We were told Ben Powers could come back towards the middle of December, right around a playoff run.
Yeah, and oh man, forgive me, I can't remember who it was in Broncos media, posted a nice little tweet that illustrated the difference in the run game production with Ben Powers and without him. And suffice it to say, it was better with Ben Powers. And then, of course, then you remove Ben Powers from the equation. Then later your bell cow and J.K. Dobbins, and it's just gotten worse. But I would like to see him back. My bet is middle of the month maybe is when we see him. If they were starting his clock, we would have seen him on the report today. So we know it's not happening this week. But I'm with you, dude. They got to hopefully get him back sooner than later. And real quick, a matter of business, Mike, I hope you saw I posted the link. Mike's trying to figure out where is it. I'm not sure where the actual comment is because I scrolled way past it. But our dear friend Mike is wondering what the link is to sign up to become a member on YouTube. So I pasted the link, bro. It's in the chat. Smash that. You're good to go, my friend, and we appreciate you. Believe that. Guys, we also got Ralph Bracegirdle checking in, the patriarch of the Bracegirdle clan, who we got to kick. I've actually gotten to kick it with these guys twice this year, most recently at the meet and greet. Hope everyone's doing well. They like to put it up on the big screen at home, so hope everybody's doing well. Ralph says Broncos country knows we are 4 points. This is an interesting observation here, Luke. We're 4 points from being 12-0 on stupid plays. Love you, MHH. Love you right back, Ralph. Thank you for the support and the stars, big dog. And it's crazy to think, Luke, like, I think they were losing that Chargers game because the defense could not stop Justin Herbert in the fourth quarter. But that Colts game, man, one slight bounce of the ball different, they win that one. You know, the controversial leverage penalty and all that stuff. But they have been this close to being undefeated 14 weeks now. We're getting into week 14, into the season.
Well, and I take you through an interesting commonality tomorrow under my keys to victory, Ralph, where I actually examine some of the time of possession and how that relates to the Broncos' success or lack of success, if you want to look at it that way. And it's really interesting, man. For me, the Colts was such a catalyst game. I know it was their first loss of the season and then Chargers back-to-back loss. But, you know, the Broncos defense, what else can you say about this group? They're absolute monsters, and everyone wants to talk about 51 sacks. Everyone wants to talk about Nick Bonito at 10.5 and a batted pass that won the game for them in Washington. Nobody's really talking about the Broncos not surrendering a 100-yard rusher since Jonathan Taylor obliterated Denver's defense back in week 2? It's a catalyst moment for me for Vance Joseph specifically, because that's been the rap on Vance Joseph for so many years. How does coach adapt? How does he stop the run? And you're not only seeing this defense take pride in the pass rush. I think that's something we saw a lot in 2024. Now you're seeing this defense say, we're going to shut the run down, and then we're going to feast and we're going to get after the quarterback. Do you remember Geno Smith picking himself up off of the turf on Thursday Night Football? I know it was boring. I know we try to block that game out of our memory, but the dude got the crap beat out of him. What do you think's going to happen to him in Las Vegas on a turf field? This Raiders offensive line is putrid. I'll take you through that tomorrow as well. And since facing the Broncos defense, Chad, it's been bad news for Geno Smith, man. He's been sacked 19 times. They're on a 6-game losing streak, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. It is bad news. And Phil McLaughlin circling back around. Sorry, Luke. I'm so used to Chad and Zach. Do not be sorry, Phil. You show up for us every Wednesday night here on MHI. It's fun when we mix it up, man. We try to mix up some of these shows, keep you guys guessing. And that's another cool part of the MHH exclusive community aspect. If you'd like to become a member, gives you perks to all kinds of MHH exclusive content.
Yeah, buddy. It's that Raiders game, what was it? 6 sacks. The Broncos sacked Geno Smith 6 times, beat the ever-loving snot out of him. He threw a pick, finished with a terrible quarterback.
143 yards, 16 for 26. I mean, bad game. I can't believe he's still starting.
It's interesting. I think it's reflective of they really don't have a better option, but it's been bad enough this season, Luke, in Vegas. Not that we want to make this a Raiders podcast, but it wouldn't surprise me if Pete Carroll got handed the walking papers after just 1 year, and especially knowing the kind of ownership that they have, like, Mark Davis, all that stuff. The wise thing would be to gut it out, let Carroll continue to kind of instill his vision and culture, use your well-earned draft position that you're going to have next year to find a quarterback for the future and keep rocking and rolling. But it's not looking good. And I feel very good, Luke, about the Broncos outlook, even though last season was actually the first time ever the Broncos have won in that stadium. Mm-hmm. I think the Broncos sweep now the Raiders 2 years in a row.
No, it's important to look at the Raiders, and it's important to kick them when they're down. It really is. I could remember wanting Ashton Genty and wanting the Broncos to give up a ton to go get him. Boy, I'm glad that they didn't, because RJ Harvey, I'm very pleased with the young back. I'd like to see him used a little bit more as a runner instead of a receiver, but hey, winning is winning. So we'll take that. Not to quote Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious or anything like that, but no, Pete Carroll, the Raiders, they're in a little bit of flux right now. Tom Brady's not happy as minority owner or whatever we got to say there. This is a really important divisional game for the Broncos. The very first goal for the Broncos is what? You win the division. And it's something the Broncos haven't done in a long time. I don't know, Chad. I'm not superstitious. I'm kind of stitious. And it's weird to me that on the 10-year anniversary of Super Bowl 50, you were at the reunion. The MHH meet and greet was reunion alumni weekend.
Yep.
Mile High Magic tends to turn its head towards a favorable position in the sun for Denver Broncos. And I can't wait to see it, man. If you're telling me the Broncos could come in and sweep this Raiders team, extend their win streak to 10, keep pace with the New England Patriots, I'm all for it. It does feel like the Patriots and the Broncos are on a collision course. And Drake May, he's playing good football. It was against the Giants. Yes, you can go back and compare Bo Nix's stats against Drake May's stats when they both played the Giants if we want to. But the teams are pretty interesting when you look at their coaches. I hate to say I'm a Mike Vrabel guy. I really like Mike. There was a time I thought that it could work. Sean Payton and Mike Vrabel here probably couldn't have. 2 big alpha dogs, 2 nasty personalities. But I like what Mike Vrabel's defense is doing. I don't think the Patriots defense gets enough love. I really don't. All because of the Drake May offense that's happening. But I think the Broncos and the Patriots, they're going to square up, and it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be potential game of the year. Just like Phil McLaughlin, always giving fireworks. It's great to see Ellis back. Now Powers. Yeah, let's go through that injury report real quick. Jonah Ellis is officially back. The Ellis brothers raising hell all over the NFL, just talking about that Patriots game. He's on the injury report today with a hamstring. He did practice in full. Reese Taylor, cornerback, chest injury, practiced in full. Nate Atkins, tight end, knee, did not practice. And DJ Jones, big cat, defensive tackle with an ankle, did not practice. That's 4 Broncos on the injury report compared to what? 12 for the Raiders or something like that. Denver has found a way to stay healthy and get their guys back.
I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how many games is it now? Because if you don't practice at all on the Wednesday, it's usually about a 70% chance, especially if you've been injured, talking about the Broncos now, that you're not going to play this week. There are those instances where it's a DNP on Wednesday, limited on Thursday, full on Friday, and they play. But usually when it's a DNP, Luke, on a Wednesday, as we know, they usually don't end up suiting up. Now, you look at Nate Atkins, who remains this team's best blocking tight end. That could really help with what we were talking about earlier, getting the run game going and getting Harvey loose. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking to myself, if he suffered that injury to his knee in the Cowboys game, so that was week 8. Week 9 he missed. Week 10. Week 11. Bye week. 4 games now he's missed. Why didn't they put him on IR? Like, I wonder
the Broncos
why.
don't put anyone IR, Chad. I mean, seriously, run through your head real quick. I'm totally spacing it. I'm jealous of your Tumblr, by the way. But they don't. The Broncos, they truly don't put anyone on IR. They're riding their system. I know it's a case-by-case difference, but Adam Prentice, did I see him get a love? What, a reception against Washington the other night? That's a little bit of a testament to the Broncos' depth. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Broncos' depth. We're talking about Ben Powers, and when can we get Ben Powers in? Listen, Alex Palczewski and Frank Crum, they deserve their flowers. I would love to see some more Frank Crum, right? Love those blonde locks from Wyoming out there. But Alex Palczewski, it's Thomas's guy. He's been a serviceable lineman for sure. It was great to see Luke Wattenberg get extended, I suppose. Not my favorite player, but well-deserved. You rode with it, and Sean and Bo believe in you, which is why you are extended as the Broncos offensive line continues to surge. But listen, the run game's going to go as the offensive line goes, and the O-line needs to get after it this game. They need to keep Bo protected. Bo doesn't take a lot of sacks, as we're continually reminded by any commentator that calls a game for Bo Nix. The offensive line is playing really well right now, Chad, and that is one of the biggest reasons. And defensive line too. The big uglies. This team goes as the big uglies goes. The O-line's humming. The D-line's nasty.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. And it is weird, but I'm feeling like, look, they were right on PS2. They thought, hey, we think it's 3 games. It ended up being 4 weeks, but 3 games because of the bye. And they got him back in time, right? Ben Powers, they knew that was going to be long-term IR. JK, long-term IR. Like, we can pull up the roster on the team website and remind ourselves who's on IR, but that's actually beside the point. In the Nate Atkins case, the only implication or takeaway, I should say, why they haven't put him on is that he must have suffered a setback, or their initial prognosis for him was a misread. But I hope he's the exception this week, and that his DNP leads to a limited tomorrow and then maybe a full go on Friday, and he plays because they need him. But I actually gotta concur here with one of our dear members, Sue Gibson, who says, in explanation of the Pats being at 11-2, which again, like Sean Payton put it into good perspective when the Broncos won 9, saying, hey, it's pretty hard to do that in the NFL. Put it in the context of another sport. It'd be like, winning 40 straight in the NBA or the MLB. It is a monumental achievement. It's not the ultimate achievement, but it's not easy to do. So credit to the Pats for winning now 10 in a row. I don't want to take that away from them, but for whatever reason, Luke, I don't fear them. As Sue says, Pats have a weak division, and let's not forget they lost to the Raiders, which, yes, they did lose, but we got to also remember the Broncos. Raiders played the Broncos pretty tough too. We'll see how it goes this week, but I don't fear this New England Patriots team. And I think a big reason for that is I think Drake May, in the face of this defense, would not look like the Drake May that you saw the other night lighting up the New York Giants.
No, I love it, Sue. I mean, I forgot about that week 1 loss to the Raiders, 20-13. It's interesting when you look at the rest of the Patriots schedule, right? And they come off of their bye week. They've got a game against the Buffalo Bills at home, and then they hit the road to the Baltimore Ravens. And I know Both of those teams, Buffalo, right? We're trying to figure out what's their trajectory. Baltimore, we're just trying to figure out what the hell happened to the Ravens. Now, I think both of those games could be very tough for the New England Patriots. Then you've got Jets, and then you've got Miami. It's interesting when you look at that compared to the Broncos schedule, and I tend to agree with you, Sue. They definitely had an easier schedule, but there really aren't any easy games in the NFL, and it's something that I usually talk about on a weekly basis on this show. I would challenge just anyone, whether you're a casual fan, you're a hardcore fan, media member, whoever the hell you are, go do a pick 'em this week. And seriously, circle the team that you think is going to win and circle back around and tell me how it worked out. It is so hard, Chad. I do it every single week. And aside from my fantasy football team being horrible, my pick 'em's not that much better unless it's the Denver Broncos because we're riding a 9-game win streak. It is truly the league of parity. It's why it's my favorite sport on this planet. Any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday, hopefully they don't add another week, you're either going to win or lose. And the talent is just so deep in this league, man. I mean, upsets happen every single week. That's why it's fun to kick on a Sunday game. That's why I wanted to see Shedeur Sanders in the Cleveland Browns uniform. And yes, I'm not going to let Jerry Jeudy off the hook for being a punk to Shedeur on the sideline. Maybe the two deserve each other, but thank goodness Jerry Jeudy is out of Denver. Had to get that.
Another example of Sean Payton being right. Like, this is why I have adopted what we used to say about John Elway the first 5 years he was in the GM. In Elway I trust, or in Elway we trust. I've adopted that same philosophy with Sean Payton, and he was right about Jerry Jeudy. Now, yeah, there was an extenuating circumstance. The Broncos were going to move on from Russ. They had to shed some salary, and they had just picked up his 5th-year extension, so he was fixing to be kind of expensive last season. That wasn't the only reason, though, he was moved on. The Broncos had other options if they were really desperate to shed salary. It was he didn't fit the culture. He didn't fit Sean Payton's vision, and you're seeing why. You're seeing the kind of prima donna, selfish, tone-deaf kind of stuff, and thank God it's happening in Cleveland, not the Mile High City. Speaking of thanking the football guys, we got Lady D in the house dropping in from the top rope. She's not only throwing down a very generous super, she's gifted 10 Mile High Huddle YouTube memberships to folks in the chat. Thank you so much, Lady D. We love you. Hope you're doing well. Give our best to David, your husband. She says, hi, Chad and Luke. Hello, everyone. Glad we're getting healthy. We will need that going into the playoffs. What do you think our chances are to win the 1 seed? Raider week, we need to win this game. Go Broncos, MHH for life, MHI. Yeah, so real quick, Luke, let me serve this over to you, and you answer for the Lady D. The New England Patriots, from here on out, they're on bye this week, which gives the Broncos the chance to win and then reclaim the 1 seed by doing so. Then they come out of the bye. They're at home against Buffalo. Then they go on the road, Baltimore Ravens. Then on the road again, Jets, divisional game. And then home to close out the season against the Dolphins. So how do you see the rest of their season, knowing they're 11-2 now, shaking out?
Patriots are going to lose some games. They're going to lose 2 games at least, in my opinion. I think the Broncos have a huge advantage over the New England Patriots because they're a year further than where the Patriots are now. We have to remember that Mike Vrabel is in his first year. We also have to remember that Josh McDaniels is around, and he tends to stink the joint up a little bit. That's not to say that Drake May is not the real deal. He is. But I'm sticking with Bo Nix. I wasn't a big Drake May guy in the draft, as you know. I wasn't a big Bo Nix guy in the draft. I was a Jaden Daniels guy. And that's not to say opinions can't change. I am on the Bo Nix bus. But happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving, Deanna. We really, really appreciate you. Hope you and the grandkids are doing well and getting ready for a Merry Christmas. What are the chances we can win the 1 seed? They're very high. I think that this Broncos team right now is intimidating to a lot of their opponents. When's the last time we could say that? It's not because they're going to come in and they're going to blow you out, right? They had 2 blowout victories, Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football and the Dallas Cowboys on a Sunday game, if memory serves. The Broncos are undefeated at home. I think the Patriots have a rough away record. It's something for me where this is absolutely obtainable, and it just feels like momentum is definitely on both teams' side. However, maturity, what's it look like when things are rough? How many tough spots have the Patriots been in? I was trying to confirm today. I think 5 fourth-quarter comebacks ties Caleb Williams and Bo Nix right now this season. How many fourth-quarter comebacks for Drake May and the New England Patriots? Something that's a little bit interesting. Character. What's your character of this Denver Broncos team versus the Patriots? They match up very, very well on paper. I think it would be an amazing contest. It's something we're going to see. But for me, I give the Denver Broncos a very high chance of getting that number one AFC slot. They've matured leaps and bounds in one offseason, Chad, under Bo Nix's leadership.
No doubt. And you also have a head coach who's been there, done that. Mike Vrabel, he had a lot of success at times in Tennessee, kind of came up against the peak Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes buzzsaw era stuff that the farthest that I recall the Titans got. But, Sean Payton's been there, done that. He knows the score, how it's supposed to look. He's a detailed guy, and that trickles down to every aspect of the operation. And the adversity key here, how much true adversity have you seen the Patriots and Drake May specifically go through? Look, it's adversity just to go out and win an NFL game, right? We know that's not easy to do. But what I mean is backs against the wall, chips are down. If you don't go make a play, if you don't go put together 2 drives in this fourth quarter, you don't even have a chance to win, let alone actually win. Bo Nix has been in that situation in this team now several times. And so even though this kind of goes back to the previous conversation earlier tonight, Luke, where, you got still a lot of doubters in the national press because the Broncos are winning, yes, but they're not making it look all pretty and big numbers and this and that. But at the same time, it's going to serve them more than what these big numbers are, because in the same way, Luke, think about it like this, as painful as it was for us when it happened. The 2013 Broncos were doing the Star Wars numbers, right? Breaking records, blowing everybody out of the freaking water. But the very first time they actually hit some true adversity and got just clocked in the jaw, they folded like a lawn chair in Super Bowl 48. And you wish they would have come up against the resistance and adversity like that a little bit earlier in the season so that they could have learned from it, built the callus, and it could have served them when they got to the Super Bowl. In the Broncos case this year, 2025, that callus is already pretty damn thick. And I'm not sure yet that Drake May and the Patriots have even begun to form one.
I think you're exactly right. And one of my favorite human beings of all time, right? Marcus Luttrell, decorated Navy SEAL. All right. Everybody knows Marcus Luttrell's story. And he's given a speech one time, Chad, and he says, I like to ask people, who's your best friend? And they'll say, oh, my roommate. Oh, my buddy in my band. Oh, the buddy down the street, neighbor, whoever. And he'll ask them, well, why are they your best friend? Well, we like to have beer together. We like to watch football. We like to hang out, do this, that, and the other thing. And then he'll ask them, have you ever been in a tight spot with them? When the walls are caving in, when hell's raining down all around you, and you look at them and they're like, man, this sucks and I'm not going anywhere. That's the Denver Broncos right now. That's the offense, that's the defense, and that's the special teams. There is, from what I can tell, zero toxicity on this Broncos squad right now. They are fully focused on one goal, and only they know who that goal is right now, right? We could talk about Super Bowl expectations and training camp. We could talk about all this and all that, but they are locked in together as a group. I wonder about that with the New England Patriots. That's not to say that they can't get there, but in 1 year with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, and it's interesting when you look and you compare the teams. I was doing this with my dad the other night. You look at Mike Vrabel and then Vance Joseph, and you're like, ooh, man, tough defenses. Who would you give the upper hand? Some may say Vrabel in that circumstance. And then you look at Sean Payton versus Josh McDaniels. And who are you going to give the upper hand to in an offensive play caller in that set of circumstances? Road game, home game. It's going to be interesting when you look at both these teams. I will continue to say it. The Patriots and the Broncos are on a collision course, and I can't wait for when it happens. It's going to be one of those things, right? A movable object versus unstoppable force. We just don't know which is which.
Well said, my brother. Well said. And I think it's going to look really it's going to look normal. It's going to look like we've been there before. I'm going to think back to that 2005 season when the Broncos vanquished the defending world champion Patriots in the divisional round with that Champ Bailey pick in the end zone that he rounds it back to the one, gets caught by, who was that? Ben Watson. The two duels that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady had in the AFC Championship game. We've got a lot of history, the Broncos, going up against the Patriots in the games that matter most. And it's going to be fun when that time comes in the Nix and May era. No doubt about it. There is a real quick here. Grab this from Tucson Phil. This may not be billed as a big game, but like Cliff stated, A win assures Denver of winning any two-way tiebreakers with the Patriots based on common opponents. And this is a fact, going back to the details, Sean Payton, this is something that I can promise you has not escaped Sean Payton and the Broncos notice. And that's why, combined with the blowback they got for how ugly the Thursday night game was against the Raiders, I kind of have a feeling this is going to be a big old blowout. I have a feeling the Broncos are going to go in there and just push them around, put up some points.
That's a really astute observation from Mike, of course. I hadn't even thought about that. And of course, how about the Broncos sweeping the NFC East? That was awesome.
Yeah.
For me, man, I just need coach to not run into any referees and not run onto the field and get a penalty. I mean, I just need coach to act right and mind his P's and Q's in Las Vegas. But I think teams ultimately take on the personality of their head coaches. And what better example than the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots, right? I think you see two blue collar, nasty teams that don't give a gee whiz what you think about them. Both coaches will snap back and interrupt you in a press conference. I heard Vrabel doing it. Some guy, don't interrupt me, Mike, the other day. And I absolutely love it, man. This is how men are. This is how football is. This is December regular season as we are marching towards the postseason. The Denver Broncos hit the road for a second consecutive week against the Las Vegas Raiders. And here's a friend of the show, String Guy 2825, an exclusive member of our MHH community. Chatter Luke, do you think that Elijah Moore is a better pure receiver than Marvin Mims? Do you think that's what Peyton saw in him when he signed him? After watching his highlights, he looks better to me.
He's a more proven receiver and a more experienced receiver within the scope of that similar kind of skill set that Mims has. And I mean, you look at Moore's box score for his career. His career high season was 2023 with the Browns, 640 yards, 2 touchdowns. His rookie year was pretty close to that, 538 in terms of yardage, 5 touchdowns. He's just seen a lot more time on task. And you look at Marvin Mims. Now, granted, this season, Elijah Moore, he's been targeted 17 times, 9 receptions, 112 yards, where meanwhile, you take a look at Marvin Mims, who, remember, did miss 2 games with the concussion, but he hasn't been featured much. 24 receptions on 34 targets, 242 yards, and that singular touchdown. I don't think, like a lot of people in Broncos media have theorized, that he's coming in to replace Mims. I think he's coming in because the Broncos saw how bad their punt return game was. I mean, let's not forget they brought in Bandy to kind of serve as that guy. And he did his best, but he did have that really costly fumble. Broncos still ended up winning that game, of course, but I think Moore's there as kind of just in case something happens to Mims again, we've got him one in the chamber, so to speak. I don't think he's coming in to replace anybody in the scheme.
100%. And String, let's consider something that nobody wants to talk about. Scout team, right? A practice squad player right now. What can he bring to the scout team? A lot, especially if it's good on good. Cortland Sutton talked about it a little bit. Sometimes ones on ones, but ones on twos, right? How about Elijah Moore and Riley Moss? Riley Moss is improving his game. He's not grabbing everybody all the time and getting flags. Can Elijah Moore help other defensive backs with that in addition to Riley Moss at practice? I don't know. That'd be great. I was pumped to see what kind of performance Riley Moss put out there on Sunday. Just like Pat Surtain, I got to be nervous. I was nervous about Pat Surtain suiting up so early. I'm thinking against Washington, Scary Terry's coming back, but I'm sure they could survive. Thank goodness, Chad, that Pat Surtain did come back. Yeah. Partially torn pec or not. PS2 is just an absolute freak. So, String, I agree with Chad in this one. I would really put a heavy emphasis on maybe what this man can be doing at practice squad for the scout team. It's something we don't get to see at practice, right? But these guys, they need to compete. They need to emulate their opponent, if you will. And maybe Elijah Moore can do that in addition to being a security blanket for depth.
Roger, thank you again, buddy, for being a member and for the question. Guys, we're about out of time, so consider this kind of your 2-minute warning for any burning questions. Yeah, Phil, we need Hufanga to get his mitts on and actually haul in one of the 10 interceptions that he's dropped. According to Eric, who charts the games and everything, he's dropped 10. I don't know, not counting last week, but off the top of my head, I don't remember him dropping an interception. I do remember him with a PI that negated a Jahdae Barron interception that came back to haunt the Broncos. But yeah, that would be nice, no doubt about it. And one last question here, Luke, and then maybe we bounce on out from Albert. Give our best to Michelle. Hope the Mile High Dutchy clan is doing well. Will VJ stay for after the season? In an interview, he said he had nothing to prove anymore, or something like that. Yeah, everything I've heard from VJ, and about VJ, he very much is relishing the opportunity to be a head coach again. So I think if he gets an offer, he'll take it. If you're in the camp that is hoping he stays, you want the Broncos to get as deep into the playoffs as possible. Not to say that eliminates the possibility, but a lot of teams, yeah, they want the best coaches from the best team, Luke, but some of them, they don't want to wait till February to get their mitts on the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when you look at some of the vacancies that are currently out there, right? Everybody's wondering what's going to happen with the Giants. Raider week, people are wondering, is Pete Carroll going to get the axe after 1 year? It wouldn't be the first time that it happened with the Las Vegas Raiders. I would say this, if and when the Denver Broncos accomplish their goal, maybe you see Vance Joseph take a head coaching role. Take that for what it is. Only they know what that goal is. Obviously, everybody wants to win the Super Bowl every year, but they know how close they are in that building a lot more than we do here in the media or the fan base. And that's why they're unapologetic about these wins. This Broncos team doesn't care that they've trailed in all 12 of their games. All they care is that they're on a 9-game winning streak. All they care is that they're 10-2, undefeated at home. How about that? That's something we're not even talking about. I know this is a second consecutive road game, but it's the month of December and you're undefeated in the Mile High City. Wow. What a thunderous applause the Broncos are going to get when they come home against the Green Bay Packers in week 15 amid a 10-game winning streak after smashing the Raiders. And Ralph Bracegirdle, again on Facebook, circling back around. Hey, Chad, what is going on with Bridge the Gap? Are you planning on a live show in Santa Clara?
No. I think what he's asking is, if the Broncos go the distance and make the Super Bowl, are we going to be there to do some live shows? I think podcasts. I think that's what Ralph's asking. But then again, I interpreted one of his other questions wrong a couple days ago about Aquaman. I thought he was talking about Talanoa Hufanga, because that he resembles perhaps the actor who played Aquaman the most. But turns out, no, he was talking about Adam Troutman. So I could be wrong. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Ralph, thank you, pal. And with that, Luke, good stuff, man. I had a blast, brother. This was a lot of fun, and always relish the opportunity to jump on and chop it up. Whoa. We're not out of here yet.
Lady, not out of here yet.
Just when you think things.
Yeah, just when you think we're out, man, our MHH Super Chat superstars come in, man. And Deanna always generous. So generous with her time and so generous with gifting 10 MHH memberships for an exclusive access to everything we do here at MHH. Really appreciate you, Deanna. I still like Marvin Mims on special teams. Go Broncos. Win against the Raiders. David's birthday yesterday and our anniversary tomorrow. So we're just having a great month. Good night, all. Go Broncos. Happy belated birthday to David and happy anniversary to you both tomorrow. We are all about giving everyone their flowers here on the MHH airwaves. Congratulations.
The month of December is a big month for the Hendry family, because you got David's birthday, you got the Annie, and then you got Christmas. And this time too, this month you have Broncos on Christmas, so it's an even more special. Christmas. But thank you so much, Lady D. That's really cool to hear. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Marvin Mims. He's the man on special teams, no doubt about it. The questions are, really still surrounding his role on offense. But yeah, thank you. We'll see. We're picking Broncos.
Rick Upchurch told Tom and I a few weeks ago when he was on the podcast, and Scott remembers. I wrote it down because I'm gonna hold him to it. He said, week 12, week 13, the deep ball for Bo Nix and Marvin Mims will be there. Maybe this is the week, Lady D. Maybe this is it. What better way for Bo Nix to find Marvin Mims than in Sin City and escape Las Vegas with more and more dubs?
That's interesting, because I'm thinking back to that huge, whatever it was, 80-plus yard play against the Browns last year, Nix to Mims. What week? Week 13.
This one.
So, no doubt about it. Excellent point. Lady D, love you. Thank you so much.
Boom, Broncos country. It's been a super fun show. Many thanks to Chad Jensen and Scott Kennedy for rocking with me, as always, every Wednesday night. Guys, head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Check out Tony Dungy's recent comments about this Broncos squad. They may surprise you. We'll also be having keys to victory against the Las Vegas Raiders drop tomorrow as well at milehighhuddle.com. And don't forget, Friday morning, our MHH Roundtable takes you through our official picks. See who's in the lead and who's in last place. How do we do when it comes to picking Broncos games? And how do you do? Fill out a sheet. Let us know your predictions as well over on X. That's at Mile High Huddle. If you'd like to reach out to Chad, that's at Chad N. Jensen. Yours truly, at Luke Patterson LP. Scott, that's at Scout Kennedy as well. We appreciate everybody for tuning into this show. Chad, really, really fun, man. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a member of Broncos country.
Speaking of, shout out to all the great members in the chat tonight. Quentin, Sue, Pearl, Raj, the string guy, Todd Ostendorf, Lady D, of course, B Rad. Who else am I missing here? Mblex, Yo Soy Fiesta, right back at you, pal. And if I missed anybody, because the chat's kind of passed us by here, forgive me, but love you guys. You're the lifeblood, you and the superstars. But I repeat myself. Thank you.
Boom. Broncos country into Sin City. This is the way.
This is the way.